I'm Damien Brad and welcome to Access All Areas, brought to you by Telstra. A lot to talk about with some terrific football over the weekend, but the game had a sickening taste to it yesterday with the heartbreaking injury to Alex Johnson. It can be so cruel footy, can't it, Matthew Lord and Jimmy Bartel?
Yeah, certainly, Damo. The air went out of the MCG yesterday when he hurt his knee. What was his good knee? The one he hasn't had the 5 operations on. And they say you get what you deserve in footy, and that's a man who hasn't got what he deserves. Yeah. 6 years of rehab. He came back last week, but playing in a grand final in 2012. The guy just deserves a bit of luck to go his way.
This is how it happened. As you say, Jimmy, it's the right knee that buckles there early in the game when he's chasing Jesse Hogan, and he knew straight away, as did the teammates around him. You can see Kieran Jack's reaction. You can see Newman aware of the potential disastrous nature of this, and it affected the people who've known him well.
It makes it an even better win, to consider what they've gone through. I've been part of teams where someone's done a knee and just flattens you. At half-time, they would have gone in, they would have seen an emotional parents, they would have seen him an emotional, but this was unbelievable from Alex. Just at quarter-time, he knows what he's done, he knows his career's most likely over, yet he still wants to get around his teammates and put Sydney first. Just shows the character of the man.
The club itself was having a really rough patch. He came into the team last week against Collingwood and they got over the line. There's no coincidence he was part of that team. No coincidence that they fought hard yesterday when it started to go against him in the latter stages of this game against the Demons, Jimmy.
Yeah, spot on, Damo. He actually started the game really well on Jesse Hogan. There's Nick Newman, clearly affected by it, and a lot of his teammates were, but at quarter time he came out, involved himself in the defensive group, and a number of those young guys actually would have been coached by him. In his time away, he's done a little bit of work with their backline in the NEAFL, but look, you just feel sorry for him. But it's a reflection on the Swans. They always talk about the Swans culture, that resilience. They lost Nick Smith as well in the game, and they actually just kept playing better and better as the game wore on.
Yeah, and they need to move on, don't they? A lot of soul-searching now, both club and player, and it will play out over the next few weeks and months with what happens to Alex Johnson. Isaac Heaney, into his 4th season of footy, stood up when it absolutely counted, went back late and controlled this game almost as a gatekeeper late. Yeah,
Sam Reid used to have this role. Now it's Isaac Heaney, Jimmy. And one thing I don't embarrass you, you're built for finals. You stood up all the time. And I love this man because you just know the type of player he is.
Mark of the Year.
Yeah, Mark of the Year contender. He just makes the right decisions. He's tough, he's skillful, and he's become that key player late for John Longmire.
Yeah, when they were under siege, this is just as impressive mark here on the bigger man, Cam Peterson. 3 intercept marks in the last quarter, and he just patrolled the back line and he's got that athleticism as well, just to launch or accelerate into the footy.
And you say patrolled it. They won that game without scoring a goal in the last quarter, and yet he was in control of the game despite the lack of scoreboard pressure.
It was probably the structure of the Swans, the professionalism, the way they taught. Their young players knew exactly what to do at every moment. When they got the footy back, they just slowly built it up. They waited to take their time and just picked their way down the ground and just sat the clock. But maybe for the Demons, Lloydie, they should probably take some lessons out of this game, which will help them progress to the next stage.
Well, they need to, don't they? Because they cannot beat a team in the 8 when it counts. And they were let down yesterday by their own inability to capitalise on the Swans being 2 men short. They had lapses throughout the game and they cost them the game itself.
They are 0-7 against finalists or top 8 sides, 12-1, Jim, versus the teams outside of the top 8, which says a lot about them. They can't win the tight ones, unfortunately.
And there's just a couple of goals kicked by the Swans were straight the cause of Melbourne refusing to do what they needed to do at the right time.
Yeah, well, just the maturity of their side. So we have here the Swans. This is the way they played once they had 2 down. They just kicked Mark too far off the defence. Even that one who marked it there, too much leg rope given. Look, just trailing each other around, just getting backpacked around the forward line. Got to be up on top of your man. You should identify what the Swans are trying to do to you. They're trying to play that kick mark, uncontested style. In transition, we'll see this one. Papley gets all the way back as a forward in defence. Look at this, they're just too far off. Just close that space down and force the Swans to do something different.
Is it a lack of work rate? Is it just a lack of awareness? What's happening?
I've got an opinion, Damo, that I reckon Clarko, you started the zone in the cluster. He's gone back to a little bit of man-on-man. I reckon there's a lack of accountability, and they pick and choose here at times.
Do they?
Yeah, they pick and choose. So often it's an excuse not to man up. Papley would love that as a forward. We've seen Ronk kick bags of goals before. This one, just horrendous. This Christian Salem, he wants to sit off, doesn't take Papley. Papley runs in straight past him. So I think their half-backs need to be more accountable.
Yeah, you're a defender.
And Jimmy, go through us here. You called this before it happened.
So Papley, he's always coming up to the contest to lose you in the contest and spit forward. You've got to keep your eyes on him. Your first job is to defend him first. They're all sitting off, peeling, trying to get proactive. And Lloydie's right. The zone or the cluster or the web or whatever team you belong to, is a starting position. When your man becomes dangerous or can get the ball, you've got to close down that space, and that's when you get proactive once your man's not dangerous.
Okay. Another team that had a bad quarter yesterday was North Melbourne. Effectively have blown up 2018 on the back of this third quarter woeful performance against the Bulldogs, which cost them the game ultimately.
Conceded 8 goals in a quarter, just unforgivable. 28 points up at half-time, Jim. Finals on the line, and they dish up that. But full credit to Bontempelli, McRae, Hunter, who led the way.
Yeah, exactly right. 3 players having over 40 possessions. You give up more than 100 possessions. I know they count. Some of them they don't count those little ones, but it's a death by 1,000 cuts. That just means you're not bringing enough pressure around the ball in the contest. And when you've got finals on the line, you've just got to play every moment to its fullest.
Yeah, and they've probably cost themselves, I think, now. The toughest player in the game, I think, since he made his debut in 2005 is Dale Morris. He may be the best bloke in the competition too in that same time frame. But again, game on the line, and here he is still playing crucial roles in what happens to the Bulldogs.
Well, in his milestone game, Lordy, these players are absolutely reflective of his whole entire career, aren't they? He's a man who plays every moment out to its fullest, and the desperation he showed, and probably potentially going on again next year.
You just know what you get every time, and even this, he just leaves his man to do the right thing by the team. He's on Ben Brown there, yet he leaves his contest at the right time, Damo. So one of the great unsung heroes of the game, Dale Morris.
And 250 game celebrations there. You can see what it means to the team around him as well. And well done to him, because I don't think there's a better bloke in the game since he's been in. A lot of carnage with injury on the weekend, wasn't it? Port Adelaide has been smashed with Ryder going down, Dixon out for the year now. Do you rule their chances out because of that now?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're the two most important players structurally. I know Robbie Gray's a great player, but you look at that. So Dixon and Ryder out, you think they're just about gone. GWS lose Heath Shaw. Just multiple injuries. He's that seasoned head. Obviously, the Pies, we've spoken about them a lot. Yet Richmond.
And Reed's gone down in the VFL again.
Reed as well.
For the year, you think.
And then Jamie Elliott's done for the season now as well. Yet Richmond, their list just is getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, they're playing great footy, and they're being able to add to it. And you mentioned Ryder. When he misses, it's very difficult for Port Adelaide to win.
Aidan Johnson might have done something to Jeremy McGovern, which might be picked up by the clubs, Jimmy. What did he do? Because so much went right for Port Adelaide until the final moments, but he played Jeremy McGovern in a way that was unusual. Yeah,
there's two important things in the way he played him. He still tried to kick goals, which is really important. Defensive forwards, if you just go and just be totally negative, the likes of McGovern that just ignore you if you're just going to stand there. But the way he played him in position, he sat on his back shoulder a lot.
Yep.
So you look at all these edits, he's starting from behind McGovern.
So is he pushing McGovern up further? Is that what the plan is?
Also it gives him a chance to spoil as well. So McGovern reads the ball so well in flight, he's going to come and launch himself at the ball. At least this gives Aidan Johnson a chance to, like this contest here, at least to put some pressure on McGovern and then keep himself.
He kicked 3 goals himself.
Yeah, because then he was able to continue on in the play.
And the fact he's slightly smaller too, is that something that other clubs will pick up on?
I think it's a good point, Damo, because it's often a bigger player, but the pace of Johnson really worried McGovern out the back.
Sure. Yeah. He signed a deal that I believe is to be only second to Dustin Martin when it comes to the money attached to it, Jeremy McGovern. He earned the big money on the weekend because we see with 29 seconds left, the ball comes in and he's gone forward, he's taken the mark, and we know now that he goes back coolly and drills this goal under all sorts of pressure.
Great coaching by Adam Simpson. I think, he's, as you said yesterday, Damo, he's had a great coaching year, Simpson, considering the injuries that he's had. To have them top two, they're going to get top two, and just knowing when to pull the right rein with McGovern, when they lost Ryder and Dixon.
Well, he certainly pulled the right rein. And we'll just have a look again at the mark itself, as was broadcast by the host broadcaster on the weekend. So the ball goes in with those 29 seconds left, and McGovern takes the mark, which we've all seen. And what we're about to do now, we'll just repeat that there. So he takes the big mark, and he's cool, he goes back and kicks it. But guys, exclusive AFL.com.au vision goes behind the scenes. Tell us where it went wrong for Port.
Yeah, well, they've had enough time here to maybe swap that match up. That's Tom Jonas on flying Liam Ryan down there in the pocket. Ebert's got the match up in McGovern. You'd probably look to swap that one up just per height and weight dimensions. Jonas is probably more capable to go in the air with Ebert.
And Robbie Gray gets it wrong as the loose man, and this is pretty much an uncontested mark. So they were all over the shop, really, in that last line defence. I thought the stoppage, they didn't apply enough pressure. And for that last kick, there should have been players flying in left, right and centre. Pretty much took an uncontested mark on Ebert. How does that happen?
Well, some weeks ago you went hard on the Hawks still being a premiership chance, and I think on the week you wrote it, they lost the game, and as such it looked a bit sort of airy-fairy. But it's real. They've finished round 21 in fourth spot. They're not scared by anyone, and they play the MCG as well as the team that they're going to have to challenge for, Richmond.
They may well play Richmond in that first week of the finals, 1v4, and I think they're a team that could challenge Richmond because of their organisation. They have players. Their bottom end wasn't strong on the weekend. They had the first gamer, the Irishman. They had Pitt in net. They had guys like, they just really struggled. Segler. But they still get the job done. I think their organisation, their ability to play the roles that Clarkson wants them to do is phenomenal.
There's an X factor about what they're doing. There's an X factor about this next man, James Worpel, who we highlighted last week for an incident that he had with Michael Hurley in a positive way. This is bigger again, Jimmy, when he goes up against Selwood.
Yeah, the Warpedo here, he just absolutely goes flat out of the footy and wins the contested ball, and that's what he was drafted on. They knew what he was. He'd be fight hard in the contest, and he puts himself in the big moments constantly, Lloydie. We go back to the previous week, that contest he had with Hurley, deep and late in the game, but he's just got eyes for the footy here, takes it cleanly, and that's the important thing, under pressure, being able to execute.
He out-Selwood there. I think that's the term, because he wanted it more than Joel, which is a big thing to say.
The Cats have left themselves in an awkward situation. Tom Hawkins had a really, really good season of footy, but was wasteful on the weekend, wasn't he? Both at front of goal, but also in his field kicking. That's a shot at goal, clearly, and it misses by a fair way. But here, and you'll see it again happening when he goes to go toward Menzel, it's just not quite precise enough for him to take it.
Look, he had a bad day with his kicking, field kicking and goal kicking, but as you said, his year has been fantastic. He kicked 7 straight only a couple of weeks ago, so I don't think this has been a tale of Tom Hawkins for the year. It's just a bad day, which some guys do have.
And the pressure of the game, Damo, I think what Hawthorn can do to you, they just were at him all day. I think they were 2 Hawkins reliant on the weekend.
They kept themselves in it, Lord. Look, this obviously goes through, and you can do the maths yourself. There are obviously a big chance to win the game of footy with that amount of time left, but he missed it again.
And stabbed at that last one. I think it got to him by the end of the day there, Tom Hawkins.
OK, they've got Freo and the Suns. Are we giving them both those games in round 22 and 23?
Yeah.
And as such, they make the finals.
Both at home.
Can they make any impact on the 8? Once they're there.
I think they can win a final, but that's about as far as they go.
Yeah, they could get a final at the MCG, first week of finals. They're into the second week again.
Yep. Jack Riewoldt, talking of days out, had a field day against the Gold Coast Suns, and this, he wouldn't have had a day like this where there was a lack of pressure on what he did for probably since he's under 18 days.
I think playing full forward, he would have had questions at times, who is actually playing on me, which is surprising. He had 12 marks inside 50 alone, over 20 disposals inside 50. It was like he must have been thinking, are we playing as the spare man in the forward line? He outscored the Gold Coast by himself, Lloydie.
Yeah, Steve May looks really poor in these edits, but the lack of pressure down the field, I think he just got...
and this is just
disappointing. Yeah, and when you can do a handball like that to a player at AFL level just to try and get him his 10th, that just is damning on the Gold Coast Suns. Let's talk about the Saints, Damo. It's just 73-point turnaround against the Dogs last week. Capitulated against the Dons when they had no player on the bench in the last quarter. Where are they at? Where's Richardson at? Where are they at? What decisions do they need?
Look, it's made known to people who matter at that footy club by the power brokers outside that the last 3 games counted. The rest of the game on the Friday night, they've got Hawthorn this Saturday and North Melbourne in round 23. And it is very much part of the overall review. Now, Simon Lethlean keeps saying that Alan Richardson is safe. I'm hearing differently because of what's happening with the power brokers around the club. They want him part of this review. 2 years of a contract to run, that's the factual part of the matter, but there's a bit to play out on this. And you're right about how they capitulated, Lordo. And a couple of issues here, which are coaching matters the way I read them. Guys taking marks close to goal and refusing to seize the moment, seize the responsibility. You can see here, Gresham takes the mark, immediately plays on. And again, that's fine if you do play on, but you've got to then kick the goal, Jim. It happens again here with Loney.
So I reckon Loney on this one here, he's had to use the umpire as a block. You see the umpire coming in, as soon as he comes in, he's in block. The other 2 though, Gresham and the one we see Billings, I don't think that's okay to play on. If you want to do the snap, that's fine. We'll see this Billings one here. I don't have a problem. If a snap is where you feel...
12 metres out from goal here.
But it's the time they take, and that's what frustrates me. You can snap the footy, but go through your routine. And as you said, you can take your 20 seconds, take a few deep breaths and almost walk yourself through it mentally, and you've a better chance to execute it.
He's lost total confidence in himself.
Yeah, they're bizarre decisions of footballers on an AFL ground. A couple of bizarre umpiring matters to take you through right now as well. How this wasn't paid as a 50 metres for Geelong in this late stage of this game, I don't know, and certainly the Cats players don't know either. It was a 50 metres, surely.
Oh, the players knew the rules better than the umpire here on this occasion. He's made a horrible error there. That he looked at him, Mitchell, and then just still boots the ball. Should have been paid. They probably wouldn't have won anyway, but still that decision should have been paid. And the next one, David Roden's involved here, Jimmy. This went over the line. The boundary umpire saw it. David Roden saw it.
So what should he do?
David should charge out, or the boundary umpire, I've never seen it, but should blow his whistle to let the umpire know, because play got too far away from these two and they just thought, OK, we'll just let it go. But they were within a point, and they started replaying that moment.
And then Bono has this shot at goal here for the Giants against the Crows, and it just misses, and they require a third umpire to rule it on the full.
Yeah, I think the goal umpire must have got a bug in his eye here and just wanted to check it out. We ended up with the right result. That's the important thing about that one.
Yeah, Jimmy, what you do on the Monday mornings, you come and scout a vision, and then you normally go through the AFL games, but you've gone deeper today.
Yeah, we cast a net far and wide this week. We've got a couple of incidents for the match review office here. Michael Christian, the Oz kick at half time. Oh, hang on. I think Michael Christian might just quickly flick that one to the tribunal because I don't think he can grade it.
The boy in blue was celebrating a bit too hard. Didn't have any peripheral vision. A bit like Cozzy back in the day.
Maybe careless, might be upgraded in the medical report. No tears, so I think he'll get off.
Jimmy, thank you. And Lotto, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Access All Areas. As always, brought to you by Telstra and the AFL Live official app. Have a good week. We'll catch you next Monday. Goodbye.